Hey guys, welcome back to Don't Forget the Art. I am so excited that you are here. My apologies that my video is late. Life has been happening here and I appreciate your understanding. So today we are celebrating Monet's birthday. His birthday is actually November 14th. Many of you know Monet as the one of the founders of the Impressionistic movement, which happens to be one of my favorite. It was kind of also the gateway opening into kind of the modern art era in the 1800s moving forward. Um, I love Monet. I love his paintings. They are so relaxing and loose, and I love the impressionistic style. Of you may remember as we were going through the art movements of history last year, I actually did this painting of a sailboat. Um, with my palette knives. And to celebrate his birthday, I thought it would be fun to play around with the impressionistic style typical of Monet. Now, Monet, if you look at his earlier works, they were done with kind of short brush strokes. Some of his later pieces, especially as his eyes went kind of bad. He had a lot of trouble seeing towards the end of his life. His brushstrokes got bigger, wider, looser. That was also when Cubism was kind of starting and things too. So I'm going to kind of keep it a little bit tighter with my style. Um, with Impressionism and using some of his shorter brush strokes. So he did some fabulous landscapes. He did do some portraits, but his landscapes and his gardens are probably some of his most famous pieces. So I thought it would be fun to celebrate his birthday doing two different options. So the first option I did using one of his paintings. I actually focused on this one with his Japanese bridge, and this is going to be very easy no matter your style. I did it, I'll even show you because I have it finished right here. I did this. Pretty limited palette, and Monet was known for using a fairly limited palette. In fact, he mixed most of his colors. But mine, I didn't mix a whole lot. I did use what I had, but I used lemon yellow, cadmium yellow medium, I had a couple different greens, sap green, bright green, viridian, phthalo green. I also had like a hunter green for some of the really dark areas. Um, for the blues, I had sky blue and a light blue here, kind of a sky blue and a phthalo blue. Titanium white you can see. Um, and that's about it. Oh, and some of my pinks. So this complexion pink I actually found at Walmart. I love this light pink color, especially right straight from the tube. And then some light magenta or some magenta color in there. And I really like the way this piece turned out. The trick to this one, as you will see when you see my replay, is the washi tape. Okay, so I put the washi tape down first and then painted the background painting behind it, then took off the washi tape and finished the bridge. So this is going to be really, really something easy and basic for your younger brushes, or just an easy fun painting to celebrate his birthday, no matter what your skill level is. I used some smaller brushes for dabs for this to get that in there. You might want one bigger one to kind of put a background. As you saw when you see the replay, I did a complete background with all green and then layered on top of that. You will also need some kind of a palette. You will need your brushes, your water and a water container. You will need paper towels. I actually remembered them this time. And this is an 11 by 14 canvas, but really a canvas board. Whatever you have will be awesome. The second option that I did would be for some of the older brushes or higher skill level. I did a 12 by 16 painting, and I went ahead and found some water lilies, water lilies. I love water lilies. They're so relaxing, so peaceful, so beautiful. I use this one. You can see how I helped to grid it out so I could sketch it in. And for this one, I actually like the boat painting that you saw over there. I actually used my palette knife, okay, again, to help kind of loosen me up and not stay so focused on the brush types. You do not have to use palette knives, okay? If you don't have any palette knives, you can use gift cards. Those work really, really well. You can cut them up and use them instead of the palette knives, and they give this wonderful kind of streaky, fun, flowing kind of movement to the painting. Whatever it is that you choose to do, I hope you have fun with the projects, and I will see you on the other side. So the first thing that I did was painted the entire background with a sap green. The nice thing about having the washi tape on it is I don't have to worry now about keeping that space open for the bridge. It's already done. Another thing that helps me with covering the entire painting like this is it gives me a starting point. Sometimes looking at those white canvases, a white paper, something like that can really, be kind of intimidating. So starting like this, painting the entire background helps me get started. Now that my background is started is when I can go in and start working. And I usually work, as you know, from back to front. In paintings, when you're talking about perspective, the things that are the farthest back are going to be the highest on the painting. The things that are closest to you are going to be down on the bottom. It's just the way that our eyes kind of see things and our brain puts it together to help us to understand that even though it's a flat surface, it can give it that depth and perspective that we are looking for. So I use the sap green on the back. I've got a hunter green. I have a Viridian. I've got a couple different shades of blue there, phthalo green, phthalo blue, Prussian blue to give some of those really dark colors. Trying to work with a limited palette, Monet definitely did. And I'm using very small dabbing kind of brush strokes. Now, my recommendation for little ones, even better, get some new sponges and, sponge in some of these speckles for the flowers or the water lilies or things like that. I'm using small brushes here. I used a bigger brush for the background to spread that all around. But for these trees in the background, that weeping willow tree, I'm using very, very small dabbing strokes. Monet was once said to, that he just paints shapes and colors and things like that, and that's pretty much what he did. And that's what you do in art for the most part, but with the Impressionism, it's even more, you're looking at it from farther away. So really for an Impressionist, I'm holding my brush wrong. I should be holding it back at the tip and standing back further from my painting. So if I was at an easel or sitting up or something like that, that would make more sense. Here, because of where I have my lighting and my camera set up, I am doing it from the table. But I think it gives a good idea of an impressionistic piece. Now, I am not by any means comparing myself to Monet. This was really fun. I have never tackled one of his pieces before. I love them. I have a couple of them hanging up around my house, not the originals obviously, but some prints. I love his work. It's so relaxing. I would love to go visit his garden one day. I can only imagine how inspiring it must have been for him. It still is for other artists. I would love to see it. and even draw or something in the gardens. But it definitely gave him the inspiration that he needed for his pieces. And he could study it different times of the day, different seasons of the year, and that's a lot of what he did. He studied light and how it affected color, and you know, how that affected um, ultimately his paintings, by just studying light and color and how it plays together on table um, on his paintings. It's quite amazing. I will link below his paintings. He painted nearly 2,000 paintings in his entire lifetime. Um, he was one of the few artists who was able to achieve success and fame in his lifetime. And obviously, that is very, very cool for him. His water lilies were some of his last pieces that he did, that were done, completed and gifted to France after World War One. Um, and yeah, it's just kind of an amazing journey that he had to, kind of take art to a different level, open up different opportunities for artists, and making different ways of expressing in different, mediums, acceptable. It changed how we see what art is supposed to look like. And that's really what he and the other impressionists that he did um, uh, completed. So some of the grasses were done. I didn't want you guys to have to watch me stroke every one of those grasses into place. I did that with a small brush over over some breakfast. Um, and now I took the washi tape off of my bridge. I am giving it a nice crisp white to try to kind of get those lines the way that I want them. And you could obviously leave it white. You don't have to paint it in. I chose to go ahead and kind of put in some of those blues and things like that that are on the bridge, blues and greens. Really, blues, greens, and yellows, pretty much all that there is in this painting. It's very simple with its colors, and I really, really liked that. So hopefully you will too. The biggest thing is just pick up a brush and get some inspiration from Monet, celebrate his birthday, and have some fun doing it. For this piece for the water lilies, I opted to use my palette knife. I have not done a palette knife painting for a while, but many of you know I really enjoy using it. It is so relaxing, freeing. It's just um, different way to paint. There you go. You got to see my little happy accident. I put the blue in the wrong spot. I also used a pretty limited palette for this as far as colors go, some blues, some greens, yellows, and a little bit of pink for some of those water lilies. Oh, and a splash of some red or brown or something there for the reflection that was in the water. But Monet was pretty famous for his water lilies. In fact, his last paintings were water lilies that were gifted to France, I believe, after World War One. His final pieces that he did, and I don't know, I just always loved Monet's water lilies. I like water lilies anyway, so that might have something to do with it. Um, they're just so relaxing, peaceful. The pads sitting on the water, the flowers popping out from the water. It's just, I don't know, something different and cool. So I opted to go for this. Now, this was not one of my pictures. I do have pictures of water lilies, lots of them, but I didn't go searching around for it. I opted to use Pixabay, Pixabay.com, and found a photo there and used that. I did grid it out to kind of help me to figure out where the placement of things should be. And then just kind of let the palette and the colors and everything just kind of come together and happen. And that's one of the things I do like about impressionistic paintings. It's just kind of looking, playing around, studying the light and the colors and how they intermingle together, not super worried about focusing on detail, just putting in your impression of the moment. Monet said that he studied light and how it, played around with the objects around him. And I really love that idea. It's, not focus, not details, just a quick impression. So I guess a little bit of your own feelings, your own impression of what you saw when you were painting it. Painting outdoors is obviously the most fun, but not necessary here. The most important thing is for you to have some fun, get creative, get those creative juices flowing, and hopefully this will help inspire you to celebrate Monet's birthday with an impressionistic piece. And here again are my two finished pieces side by side. So this was the one that was kind of a styled after Monet's. It is not a Monet, I can tell you that. And but it doesn't look too bad. Okay, I can see it. And this one, again, fun little. I haven't done a palette knife for a while, so this one was kind of fun and relaxing and something there to help loosen me up. I hope you enjoy doing something to celebrate Claude Monet's birthday, and to get yourself, those creative juices flowing. I cannot wait to see your pictures. I will certainly be looking for those. You can drop them over in the Facebook group. You can use the hashtag Don't Forget the Art. You can contact me if you need any help or information. As always, I am happy to help out wherever I can. Most of all, I hope you just enjoy some relaxing time creating something beautiful. Enjoy all and happy arting.